This is the third class in the series. This one is entitled Defending Perception. Last time we asked the question, what is the basic cognitive process, the one on which all the others depend? And we saw that it was perception, because perception is the awareness of reality in a form determined by the physiological nature of your senses, and therefore it's deterministic, not volitional. It's the primary source of all material. So perception is the given. All choices, all things you can control in your mind must adjust to what's perceived. That is the standard of all cognition. And I gave you my definition of perception as an ongoing awareness of discriminated entities in their relative positions in space, gained from actively acquired sensory inputs from reality. So that's recapping last time, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit by bringing in a phrase from Aquinas. It was Aristotle who grasped that perception is the given, that perception is the foundation to which all else must adjust, and that's an incredible achievement on his part. Aquinas picked that up and made it into a household phrase that you all know: nihil in intellectu, yada, yada, yada. You all know that one, right? How many nihil in intellectu? No Catholics here? Well, here's the phrase: nihil in intellectu quod non sit prius in sensu. Nothing is in the intellect that wasn't first in the senses. Now, of course, it wouldn't first be in the senses in the same form. If you conceive of a golden mountain, you've never seen a golden mountain, but you've seen gold and you've seen mountains, and you put them together. So it doesn't mean it was arranged in the same way, but it means the ultimate materials of knowledge are supplied entirely by the senses. The topic we're going to take up now is an answer to an objection. But what? Yeah, okay, so the perception is the foundation, but what if it's wrong? Descartes says maybe the content of perception is all wrong. Maybe it's put into our minds by an evil genius, an evil demon, an evil omnipotent spirit. Later, he tries to rescue things from that doubt by saying, well, there's actually a God, and God might kid us a lot, but he wouldn't radically deceive us that way. So we know that the things we perceive are actually there because God's pretty much of a good guy, and he wouldn't mess us up to that extent of making the whole world an illusion. Wonderful argument, isn't it? But perception, I'm going to show, is inerrant, which is a technical word meaning doesn't err. Now, you might think, why not say perception is infallible? Well, because it can fail in a certain sense. Perception can not give you the information you really needed to get, but only the information that it can give you given the situation you're confronting. So you can fail acting on sense perception, as when birds fly into plate glass windows because their perception does not distinguish transparent glass from empty air. So in a sense, they fail. So fallibility is not a good term for what the senses can't do. Better term is they can't make a mistake. They can't err. So we call them inerrant. When I say we, I mean me and other philosophers in the last 10 or 15 years who've started using this terminology. I don't mean objectivism. this term is a new term, inerrant. But the idea is the old idea. Galt says, man's senses cannot deceive him. His organs of perception have no volition, no power to invent or to distort. The evidence they give him is an absolute. So whatever term we use for that, this is as orthodox objectivism as it gets. We're going to confront the three categories of arguments against the senses that have arisen in the history of philosophy, and I think they'll all be familiar to you with the possible exception of the last one, and even that's to some extent familiar to everybody. And the point of confronting these is not just to smack down the skeptics. God knows I like smacking down the skeptics, but there's another positive point. You get clearer on what perception is and what its role in knowledge is as you go through these, particularly the last one. So it's actually going to be positively beneficial and informative to take up these challenges.